you have your question.
Yeah, my basic question was on the budget, but I want to know why you sat there for 5 days in Juneau, did not even attempt to override the governor's vetoes, which would have paid bills to the oil companies who had that money coming, and the rest of us wouldn't have got to give $1,000 this year as a special tax, and it's still sitting there doing nothing, and that money would have been at least out in the economy. And that's my question.
So let's go back a few days on that. There was a bill in the House. It was going to move to the floor on the PFD. I wanted to move to the floor for PFD, and other House members did. But I can tell you, rest assured, that myself, amongst the rest of the Valley delegation, fought very hard to make sure that we could get the Senate to come on back down and override the governor's vetoes. There was some of those projects I think were very vindictive to the Matsu. I look at KGB, it's probably the most deadly road in the state. You know, that got cut. Connect Arm Crossing, the economics that would have done to that in our state, but Juneau Access Road is in. You know, there's some things that really bother me about that. As far as the permanent fund dividend goes, you know, I'm a member of the House, and I can tell you, and that every member sitting here of the House fought very hard to try and get that veto overturned. That was our goal. They didn't want to see that. In fact, the House was the body that stood up and says, we are not spending a permanent fund dividend. We are the body who said, this is the people's money, and the people need it. They deserve their respect, and that attempt was made.
And Mike, you have a 30-second rebuttal.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, like this, I wasn't very impressed with the effort. That was your best shot at it. And I look down here Wednesday at Big Lake when I watch all the people that come in for free clothes, and I know this hitting them the hardest. And I don't know how anybody sits there and you kick someone like that when they're down. That is just low to me. If nothing else, why didn't you get up, give a symbolic vote in the House to override, then we'd have known who was who. And that's what I would like to have seen, but you didn't do that. And you sat there, did nothing, and that's kind of a sad state of affairs.
All right, Mark Newman, you get a chance to ask your opponent a question.
You know, one thing that's bothered me in politics is one of the first things I learned, Jay Hammond, former Governor Jay Hammond said, Mark, I always stay positive in your message. You know, people want to hear what you have to say, what you're going to do. Mike, I've committed to the last every election I've always had to talk to the people and say, here's what I have to offer. I don't talk about my opponents. I don't take things out of context. I've noticed some stuff at the Big Lake today. I was walking past the billboard and it says, I think it probably you, somebody put it up, it was a Mike Alexander thing. And it said, you know, Mark Newman's going to spend your permanent fund and use that. That's absolutely true, not true. That is an absolute untrue. Why would you put information out like that? Mark Newman, I have no
Is that a question?
concept.
Okay.
Why would you put out information like that and do negative things? Or should we just try and stay positive? I want to try and stay positive.
Right now, the stuff I'm looking at, that's what you're doing. You're going to spend everybody's permanent fund. It's not going to happen for them. And that money will be wasted and gone in about 10 years if we keep this up. The budget wasn't cut this year. I'm saying that pretty confident because you got with the way in action y'all did this year, you got $1,000 out of everybody's, basically in this room probably, everybody's getting a PFD check, gave $1,000. So you're halfway there already. And that's how I look at it.
And we're going to cut it to a 15-second rebuttal because your question was pretty long.
You know, back at the conference of last, because I was the first ones to go up and say we do not need to spend government or spend a PFD on government. I started that in my career. That's how I got here, and I will continue that way. And I'm committed to that, and I'm committed to doing an honest, fair campaign, talking about what I can do.
Thank you. And if you will pass the mic down to Senate District F, Adam Crum, your first up. There's 3 candidates in this district. Each candidate is going to get to pick one opponent they get to ask a question to, and that opponent will have a 1-minute answer and a 30-second rebuttal.
Thank you, Amy. All right, Shelley. Republican Party's always stood strong on the notion of keeping people safe and finding justice for victims. Alaska Peace Officers Association, Office of Victims' Rights, Anchorage Police Department, Standing Together Against Rape, they all opposed SB 91, which makes life easier on criminals. Since you voted for the bill, former Governor Sean Parnell and Governor Walker have both expressed concerns about specific provisions, language that reduces punishment for sex trafficking. I want to ask you about your statement that you are, quote, incredibly effective legislator. In the face of our police and victims' rights organizations opposing the bill, you voted yes. My question is, if you didn't know the bill was flawed, why did you vote against our police and victims' rights groups? And if you did know the bill was flawed and you were self-described incredibly effective, why didn't you fix it?
and Shelley Hughes will have a 1-minute reply.
The bill was birthed out of Texas, the most red conservative state there is, and other states have done the same thing. And the reason, what we're doing isn't working. 2/3 of the inmates that get out of jail are back in jail within 3 years. In jail, it's an incubator for non-violent people that